Hey guys, welcome to this Banx Capital presentation, giving you information about Bitcoin. Welcome to everybody that's joining us. We've still got people joining us, but we're going to crack on in just a moment. If you have any questions at all, you just put a question into the panel that you can see, and my manager, Simon Dodd, will be overviewing the questions and firing any questions back to you or giving us questions to answer publicly. So let's get going. So welcome again. Thanks again for joining us. The aim of this webinar is to answer any questions that everybody's got. We've already got a bunch of questions fired into us prior to this webinar. And what we're looking to do is answer all those questions and tell you about what we're doing here at Banx Capital within the Bitcoin and crypto space. So thank you very much again for being here. Like I say, fire any questions in to the webinar control panel, and we'll be looking over those as they come in. So first of all, a little bit about me. I've been online since 1997, which kind of makes me a bit of a dinosaur in the online world. My career, the ups and downs online have all been well documented. You only have to Google my name to see that I've had my fair share of success. I've had some failures as well, and I've had a bunch of stuff going on in between. I've released a book last year, pretty much saying everything, telling you everything about my life and what I've been up to. It's something that is slightly unconventional, to say the least, but what it's done is back in 1997, when I was starting my online career, things obviously were very, very different. And I ended up running 32,000 sites between 1999 and 2001, which is probably the most amount of sites anywhere in the world at the time. Very successful business, which was earning a lot of money in recurring income online all those years ago. And none of that was anything like we know now. Obviously, technology online moves over the last year or so has been massive. And specifically with Bitcoin and blockchain technology, things just keep getting better and better and more interesting. So how Bitcoin started for me was I was first told about Bitcoin in April last year. So that's April 2013, and immediately got hooked. It fascinated me. Now, as any of us that know about Bitcoin already, we all regret not getting in 2009. But how it started for me was around October last year, I started mining at a relatively high level for that time. Obviously, mining is an arms race, really, and it's every single month things keep moving on. But we started mining in October, and we were doing quite well at it. We managed to get a decent result, which you can see now, and that's what initially ignited my interest in Bitcoin. I set up a small mining facility to get going. We were mining Bitcoin and altcoins at the time, and that's how it all started for me. So this presentation is going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin. It's not necessarily designed to teach people about Bitcoin. It's most of the people on here or watching this already know a little bit about Bitcoin. I'm going to give you some resources of places that I think are the best places you can learn about Bitcoin if you're brand new and coming into it. And some of the resources we're putting together will help people learn as well. So a little bit about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been a roller coaster ride. This here is the price chart for Bitcoin since January 2013. And you can see that, in about April last year, there was a peak of interest. It hit the $250 mark. That was at the same time that it was all kicking off in Cyprus. So at the same time, the Cypriot banks were taking money from people for no real reason. Bitcoin went up to $250 and then came back down and was pretty steady, really, until around the November time. And then things really started getting interesting. And this was at the same time we were really heavily mining. So as you can see, it's been a roller coaster ride. And at the peak at the moment was December last year when it peaked $1,250. And it was an interesting time to say the least. As you can see, price came down a little bit in January, went back up a little bit, and yet it's had its fair share of price issues since then. Personally, I'm of the belief, and many experts far more wise than me think the next surge is coming. At the moment, as we speak, we're on about a $400 price point. Obviously, a week or so ago, it went down to the 280s to 300 mark. And I personally believe, and so do many people around me, that that's the natural bottom level for Bitcoin. So in many ways, we've got a second chance to cash in. Anybody really now, I think, is the time to be buying. At the $400 price point, I firmly believe, and I'm not an investment advisor and I don't give any investment advice, but in my personal opinion is that we are not too far away from seeing $1,000 Bitcoin again. Some say it could be more than that, but personally I believe $1,000 Bitcoin is very realistic in the coming months. Many people think it will be more, but $1,000 seems realistic. Now, that's my opinion based upon what many people I know that analyze the markets properly and realistically think it's going to be. You've got some pretty heavy hitting people involved. You've got Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss that are heavily invested in Bitcoin. They've got some big investments into big Bitcoin companies. And Cameron Winklevoss has been quoted as saying that he could hit one day $40,000 Bitcoin. Now, who knows when that's going to be, but personally, I think the more adoption that we get, the more businesses taking Bitcoin, the more people are going to get to know about it. And I'll talk to you about our aims at Banx Capital for getting more people into crypto later. But obviously, the more people involved in Bitcoin, the more demand is going to be there. And realistically, I think Bitcoin is going to become a gold type reserve. It's going to be something that could be $5,000, $10,000 relatively quickly. Now, an amazing documentary called The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin was put out last week. Any of you watching this that need to learn more about Bitcoin and all the background since it started should watch that. This is nothing that we're to do with. The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin is an independent film, but I've put a link to it. You should go and buy it. You can rent it or you can buy it. If you go to banxcapital.com/rise and rise, you'll see the link to be able to get hold of the Rise and Rise documentary. We watched it last week, and it's a pretty decent summary of everything that you need to know about Bitcoin from the very beginning. It talks about everything, the highs and lows of Bitcoin. It talks about Mt. Gox. It actually interviews the guy from Mt. Gox. It talks about everything you need to know about Bitcoin. You should be having a look at that. Take a look at banxcapital.com/rise and rise. And again, it's nothing to do directly with us, but I think personally that's the best 90 minutes you will spend learning about Bitcoin, if indeed you need to do so. So we've got questions coming in already. And some of the questions I'm going to go through now. So these are questions that have been submitted to us prior to this webinar. You know, one of the questions we had was, why should I care and what's in it for me right now? Well, as I said earlier, I think at the moment we're looking at the low end of Bitcoin. I think we've bottomed out the market at the $300 price point we saw a couple of weeks ago. And I think at $400 or thereabouts, it's an amazing opportunity. Personally, I'm trying, and the company is trying to accumulate as many Bitcoins as we can. Obviously, we're investing those Bitcoins into everything that we're doing, which we'll talk about later. But I think personally, and I'm telling everybody that will listen to me, you should be buying Bitcoin. You should be investing in Bitcoin, because that's what's in it for you. Right now, you're looking at buying Bitcoin at $400, and I really do believe that we will have $1,000 Bitcoin soon. I honestly believe that. Another question that came in is, why should I change my money into Bitcoin just to purchase something that I could pay for with a credit, debit card, or cash? Well, it's not really about that. If you need to buy something, then of course you can use your credit or debit card. I will say that there are many suppliers that now accept Bitcoin that give discounts for Bitcoin. So some of the discounts available are well worth converting your money into Bitcoin to be able to get that discount. But it's really more than just, why should I change money into Bitcoin to then go and buy things? One, it's about supporting the Bitcoin economy. And every day now, we've got more and more merchants, businesses accepting Bitcoin. But we are seeing hundreds a week coming on. I just read that BitPay have set a goal now. So bitpay.com is one of the easiest ways of being able to accept Bitcoin as a business, as a merchant. We're working with BitPay, and we're also working with gocoin.com, which is another great company that is very helpful and useful to work with. BitPay have set a goal of having 1 million people by the end of 2016, I believe. May be wrong, actually. It might be 2015. But certainly their goal is 1 million people, 1 million merchants accepting Bitcoin through their system. Now, realistically, that's potentially hundreds of millions of people using Bitcoin. And that then becomes a case of, it's actually a lot easier to use Bitcoin than it is your credit card. First of all, the reason a lot of the merchants accept Bitcoin now is because it's a lot cheaper for them to accept. You're only, as a merchant, getting charged a minuscule fee compared to credit cards. Credit card companies are taking 1 to 3, 4, 5% sometimes. And for the merchant, it makes sense. So for the user, those savings are going to get passed on. And you've already got companies like Overstock and Dell Computers here in the UK and Virgin Galactic and many, many more taking Bitcoin payments. So that's the reason. Something else that's came in is, this seems risky and weird and illegal, and it's just a fad for geeks and criminals or money launderers. Well, of course, wherever you've got an anonymous payment system, it's going to attract some problems. And many of you will be aware of the issues of Silk Road. But the reality is there are millions, tens of millions of dollars. In fact, the last couple of weeks, we've seen over $100 million come in from venture capital companies into Bitcoin companies. This isn't going anywhere at all. And it is a legitimate platform for business. So, yes, the complexities of Bitcoin are a little bit geeky, but the average user, you guys listening to this, you guys looking to invest in Bitcoin, don't need to know about any of that. You just need to know it works, it's secure, it's a system that can't be cheated, it's a system that can't be, you can't defraud the system. The blockchain technology that runs Bitcoin has thousands of independent people verifying transactions. So actually, it's one of the most safest, secure ways of selling. As somebody wanting to sell products online or even physically using Bitcoin, there's a massive plus that you can't get chargebacks. There are no chargebacks with Bitcoin. Once you've sent the payment, that's it. Only recently did I have someone charge me back a $15,000 credit card charge, and MasterCard sided with them, wrongly in my opinion. And you don't get problems with like that in Bitcoin. You just don't. So there's some of the questions we've had in. I've got more questions being fired at me on my laptop as we speak. I'll come back to some of them later. Simon is going to be keeping adding the questions coming in, and I will answer some of those more again shortly. So let me talk to you about Banx Capital and what we're doing. We have been working now on Banx Capital for a good 8 months. And It's born out of watching what's happening with Bitcoin and saying, right, how can we take this to the masses? And this is the vision. The vision for me is creating a company that runs a portfolio of solutions and products for the mainstream masses. I've come out of the affiliate marketing and internet marketing space. So our normal regular client would be somebody that's brand new to Bitcoin, let's say, that wants to learn about Bitcoin. One of the big advantages, which I'll talk about later on, that we have as a company is that we still have that pool of business and resources and affiliates to tap into. But my vision is very simple: to create a company that offers a portfolio of services that gives everything anybody realistically could need within the crypto and Bitcoin space. And we'll be talking about those businesses later. One of the troubles is this industry has been thwarted by people that don't offer transparency. Businesses that start up that are gone here and gone within weeks. It's had its fair share of problems. It's had its fair share of problems with people launching things and taking money and not delivering. And one of the things we've done since launching Banx Capital has been completely transparent in everything we're doing. We've even took videos of our offices to show people. We've shown that we're a registered company. And again, my background is completely visible. My name is completely visible on Google. And that's a plus in that people can see what I'm about. Some people may not particularly like what we're doing. And most people like the vision. And that vision is to create, one, a successful brand, the Banx brand, to be known around the world, connected with Bitcoin and the services we're offering. And two, the big vision for me is to bring 50,000 new people into Bitcoin and crypto that have never had, don't even know what it's about. Only this morning, I spoke to someone. They asked me what I did. I said I run a Bitcoin company. They hadn't got a clue what Bitcoin was about. That's Banx Capital's target market. So the vision is 50,000 people, brand new people coming in through our affiliate marketing and our product funnel that we're putting out. Bring them in, educate them, get them to know, like, and trust me, and then offer them a portfolio of services and solutions for them or their businesses. That's the vision. So our values are very simple. Clarity. It's a completely transparent operation. Everything that we do is out there for everybody to see. It's how I've always worked. It's how I always will work. And candor's a big thing as well. Everything that we do, I'm quite candid about, even if it's not necessarily what people want to hear. And everything that we do is cohesive. So to grow, everything we're doing needs to work together. And that's what's going to happen. But also we need to keep small enough to be able to change. Who knows what this business landscape is going to look like in 2 years? If you just come to Bitcoin mining for a minute and you look back to April, May last year, people were getting very excited about relatively small, but at the time, large mining rigs. Now those mining rigs are 600 times more powerful for about a third of the cost. Everything is such fast paced. Everything's moving so quickly. And what we've got to do is be able to keep small enough to be able to change quickly. If we see a trend that we think is valid, we need to be jumping on that. And that's part of it, to be able to change and quickly change and quickly come out with new solutions is what we're all about. The next thing is consistency. I am working as hard as I can, doing 20 hours a day, making this happen, as is everybody associated with us. We've got our team that is working their backside off, and we're consistently working to make sure that everything runs smoothly and that our customers are happy. And we've only launched over the last few weeks, and the feedback that we're getting through the various places that we've got a presence has been very good, because many of these crypto-based companies that are out there you could put a support ticket in and you don't hear back from them for a week or never at all. And we're different. And the reality is this, that the commitment that I've got and my team have got to making this work will make it happen. So that's a little bit about what our values are. So we launched Banx Capital about 2 weeks ago. And we are currently, as I am doing this, number 21 on coinmarketcap.com, which is pretty impressive considering we're only 2 weeks old. At the moment, our shares are selling around the 80 cents mark. It's been up and down. We've been going between 15 and 21 places. And it's been a good, solid start. Now, what I personally expect to see is this snowball. I think over the next 2 months, this is going to snowball because the more people get aware of what we're doing, the more people that read what we're about and that see what we're actually trying to do, the more people are going to jump on this and it's going to snowball. But as we are at the moment, we are the 21st biggest crypto entity in the world, which is not bad considering. That's our current graph. You can see that we started towards the end of September, and we are growing every day, which is a pretty good thing. So we've got some phases to what we're doing. And the phases are 3 phases. There's 3 phases to what we're doing. Sorry about that. I was getting waylaid by my laptop and questions firing in. So here's phase 1. Banxio is our exchange. We launched Banxio with 2 reasons in mind. The first one is to offer an easy-to-use solution for all of these new people we're going to be bringing in. We only launched 2 weeks ago. The developer in charge of it has been working tirelessly to make it work. As with anything like an exchange, there's been a few little bugs, few little glitches, but our users have been very happy so far with everything that we've been working on. So Banxio is the one place that you can buy Banx shares. There's 3 phases to Banxio. Phase 1 is become a crypto exchange. Next week, as we speak now, next week, Banxio as an entity is going to be ran from and owned by an Isle of Man based company. I went over to the Isle of Man last month, met with the government who are very open to Bitcoin companies, and we are in the middle of just finishing off moving Banxio, the exchange, to the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man offers a great opportunity for us because, like I say, they're open to Bitcoin companies. And some of the legislation there makes it a lot easier for us to get going. So there's 3 phases to Banxio. Phase 1 we're already in, which is a crypto-based exchange. Phase 2 is that we will be accepting fiat currency, so pounds, dollars, euros, and whatever else we can take into the exchange. One of the benefits of doing that is that we will be regulated in the jurisdiction of the Isle of Man. We will be doing proper KYC formalities, and the Isle of Man government are welcoming them with open arms. So that's phase 2, bring fiat currency into the exchange. Phase 3, which is the most exciting part, certainly the government officials that I was speaking to in the Isle of Man are the most excited about this. Phase 3 is to become an assets exchange. So as we are doing and we're pioneering with Banx Capital, all of our shares are available on as a crypto exchange, a crypto share, as a crypto asset. So it's fee shares. So basically, anybody that owns Banx shares is owning a share of our fees, a share of our profits. So what the vision for it is this. Once we're up and running and have phase 2 done, which is the fiat currency, we will be able to launch other companies under our exchange. Other companies that sit in the Isle of Man, have a jurisdiction in the Isle of Man, that can launch a brand new company under our exchange. At the moment, there are solutions to run a crypto-based asset business. You have other companies offering that. And the trouble with that is this, that there are some decentralized exchanges out there that enable you as an owner of a new business to launch your company, but they don't offer any jurisdictional support. What I mean by that is you could be sitting in the US or you could be sitting in Hong Kong, and the legalities and the jurisdictional issues are all down to you. They're down to you to sort. What we're going to be doing is this. We're going to be offering a chance to launch a brand new company that someone owns on our exchange, and we will help them get set up in the Isle of Man through our contacts and resources that we've used. So you'll be able to have a brand new crypto-based company that can be based in the Isle of Man, trading out of the Isle of Man, and be completely compliant with the Isle of Man government and launch as a crypto-based asset. Nobody else is doing that. And nobody else is offering the marketing support to companies to be able to do that. And that's what we're going to be doing. So people can set up, launch their company purely as a crypto company. And the Isle of Man government have already said that they're open to us doing this. They're excited about us doing this as an exchange. And we see my vision is that the Isle of Man embrace crypto-based shares. Actually, they're the first country, all being well, that are going to be able to recognize a crypto-based, share-based company. So that's a really exciting thing. So, but that's the Banxio plan, all right? It's going to be used as an online wallet, and some of the other resources that we're putting together to get brand new people into crypto will have their crypto or the Bitcoin, whatever it may be, sitting on our exchange. Easy way of them being able to access it, withdraw it, use it, and trade it. The next thing we've got is Banx. So Banx is our entry point to brand new people coming into Bitcoin. So we've done some tests. We've got about 3,000 people through on a test, some of our marketing efforts earlier on this year. And the primary question is, where do I buy my first Bitcoin? And Banx is that solution. So people can go to bitbanx.com, buy their first Bitcoins or whatever it may be, or the currencies that we'll be offering. Once we're in the Isle of Man, Banx will be associated under the company that we're talking about over there. It will be directly owned by the same company that the exchange is. They'll be able to pay with a credit or debit card, or a wire transfer, of course, and get their first Bitcoin. And then they will have the option of that Bitcoin going straight into our exchange and being readily available for them to exchange, trade, use, or what have you. I've just been told that Banx shares have gone up 5 cents since I started this webinar, which is a pretty impressive thing. Coming back to Banx. So yeah, that's our main entry point for new customers getting into crypto. So a lot of the book, for instance, I'm releasing a book in a couple of weeks' time. The Digital Money Revolution book is being released, and it's a marketing effort to get new people interested in crypto. The book will talk everything about crypto from the very beginning. It'll talk about my visions on how I see things going, and Banx will be the main entry point for people to go into. So that's Banx, an easy way of people being able to get access to cryptocurrencies in their first day. It's not just first-time users. Many people want to just be able to buy Bitcoin and not have to work with an exchange, and that's what Banx will be. Banx mining. Banx mining is a very simple solution for people to be able to start mining. If any of you know about mining, you'll know how difficult it is. It's costly in power. It's extremely hot sometimes, certainly in the summer, to run. And what we're doing at Banx Mining is two things. There's two sides of what we're doing. We're offering contracts, 12-month contracts to people to be able to mine Bitcoin and altcoins. And we are internally mining ourselves. So a large percentage of the money that we're bringing in through the sale of our shares is going into internal mining, which I'll talk about later. Mining is it is an arms race, which is why we're only doing 12-month contracts. People can buy a Bitcoin mining contract. mine Bitcoin and they get paid daily into their online wallet. People can buy a script-based coin mining contract, which means our systems will automatically mine the most profitable alternative coin. It monitors it on a daily basis, actually hourly basis, automatically mines the most profitable coin, and then if the customer wants, it will automatically convert Bitcoin, those coins into Bitcoin at the end of every day, and the user will sit with Bitcoin. We have a range of contracts available from $2,000 all the way up to $180,000. So contracts to end customers is something that we're going to be offering, and we're also going to be internally mining. We'll talk more about Banx mining later on. But as I've said, 35% of the money that we are generating is going into mining facilities. Also, if anybody's listening to this now, you want to tweet, you can use the hashtag BanxWebinar to ask questions, and Simon will be answering your questions on Twitter as well as we're live. Just use the hashtag BanxWebinar. So here's some of our mining contracts that we offer. As I say, from $2,000 all the way up to $170,000. These prices, these contracts are forever changing. We've got suppliers directly from China now that we're working with to get our equipment. One of the big key differences with Banx mining is this. You will find no cheaper mining contracts, 12-month mining contracts than we offer. Why is that? Because most other mining contracts, companies that offer contracts, preload their contract with profit. Obviously, everybody is in business for profit, and that's fine. But what we're doing differently is we're not preloading our contract prices with profit. What we're doing is pricing them near on cost price, and we're taking 30% of the Bitcoin or altcoins generated, mined every day as our profit. Obviously, then we pay our electricity costs, our co-location facilities, and our support staff out of that. But we're a Bitcoin company at the end of the day, and we want to generate Bitcoin. So I don't want to be generating pounds, dollars, or euros in profit initially, and then having a customer mine them and take all the and pay far more upfront. That's far more risky for the customer. So we're in it as a partnership. So customers will pay their contract price. There's next to no profit in that for us on the initial stages. And then we take 30% of all Bitcoin mining contracts income. Then we have Banx Mint. Banx Mint is our physical coin business. The reason I set up Banx Mint is because a lot of people have a problem with some virtual type of money. Now, for people that are versed with it, it's no different between PayPal. But for a lot of people, they want to actually behold something. They want to actually physically hold something. So what we've got is we've got these physical coins. When my webcam comes on, I'll show you them. So we have a series of coins. We have Litecoin versions as well. And we have our 1 Bitcoin coin. And we have our 5 Bitcoin coin. And we also have our beast of a 10 Bitcoin coin. Now what this means is, and these are our Litecoins as well, they're pretty nice design. They're ideal for somebody to hold and want to put in their safe as a long-term investment. So with these physical coins, it opens up a whole other market. Right? Obviously, people have done physical coins. Casasius was the pioneer of physical coins. But what we've got here is a way of being able to sell something to someone and they can just keep it. Now, obviously, they can cash it in. The security of these coins has always been paramount, and we use high-end security-grade hologram technology on the back of our coins. So on the back of our coins, you will see a public key, and you also may be able to see there that we have our own individual unique serial number that people can come to our website and verify when it was sold and what have you. And that public key verifies that there's Bitcoin on there. And if you remove the hologram, that then reveals the private key. When I can get it open, I'll show you. So this is the hologram, and if you remove the hologram, and it's a lot easier to use it's a lot harder to remove the hologram normally. It takes tweezers or something pretty significant to get it off, but this one's already been done. Then that, once revealed, the hologram shows void. It's impossible to put it back on, and it also shows the private key. That private key enables you to be able to cash the Bitcoin in, and you can then put it into an online wallet, spend part of it, or what have you. So Banx Mint is our mass adoption marketplace. We want to sell to people that wouldn't necessarily just want to hold Bitcoin in an online wallet or what have you. We want to sell to people that just want to invest in some Bitcoin, physically hold it, put it in their safe. And that's what Banx Mint offers. So we've got plans with Banx Mint. We're going to be releasing other coins as we see come out. We're going to be releasing denominations of coins. And it's going to expand. And Banx Mint, with the 50,000 people goal that we've got, is going to be a key part of what we're doing. So we, as a company, are going to be selling these coins. Like I say, we're already working on new coins to offer. Got some suggestions in already that we're going to be doing. And then eventually, in the next 3 to 4 months, we're going to be moving into the precious metals market. So we're going to be releasing a solid silver versions of some coins. And that's a whole other area. That then creates a whole other marketplace. So if you want to actually just hold Bitcoin, put it in your safe or hold it and look at it, Banx Mint is the thing that we're going to be doing. Then we move on to phase 2. Phase 2, first part of phase 2 is Banx Cash. Now, some people think Banx Cash is one of the most exciting things that we're doing. Banx Cash, instead of just matching borrowing lenders and loans, as some people are already doing, there is a massive market for people that are sitting on cryptocurrencies that may need to generate cash but don't necessarily want to sell their crypto. For instance, if you've got traders that are sitting on a whole heap of Bitcoin, or people that were in at the very early beginnings of Bitcoin, that for whatever reason need to sell their Bitcoin, need to raise cash against their Bitcoin but don't want to sell them, that's what Banx Cash will offer. And Banx Cash will essentially say, we will give you a pound, dollar, or euro, or whatever currency we can advance against those Bitcoins. We hold the Bitcoins as the asset, and we loan a portion of it out. So essentially, we've become an online cryptocurrency pawnbroking business. I have a past in the pawnbroking business, the regular one, and that's what Banx Cash is going to be doing. It'll also loan against other assets and give Bitcoin against other assets as well. But that's what Banx Cash is doing, and no one else is doing it. And that site is going to be launching, that particular channel and avenue of solution that we've got is going to be launching in the next couple of months. Then we move on to phase 3. Phase 3 starts in January with Banx ATM. We're at the moment talking to a variety of ATM providers, and our goal is to get Banx ATM initially into the UK, expanding into Europe, and then determining other countries that need ATMs. The ATMs that we're looking at providing are in and out ATMs, so you can put cash in and get Bitcoin out, Bitcoin in, cash out. That's going to be starting in January. Now, one of the key parts of Banx ATM is that all of the transactions that go through will be going through our own exchange. So people will be making ATM transactions through our exchange using our centralized systems. And the ATM market is very new. For instance, there's about 6 in London at the moment. They all get used very regularly. But putting ATMs into countries that are less accessible to Bitcoin is the key. For instance, in the Caribbean, there's a lot of people that could benefit from having an ATM on their particular island. There's a lot of massive potential in the ATM business. I think the ATM business is going to become massive over the next 2 years. There's a lot of new people providing the hardware for this, and we're currently looking at that. and we're going to be getting our first ATMs out there in January. We're going to be looking to start testing ATMs in November. So 20% of the money that we're bringing in through our bank shares is going to be put into the ATM network. It's a longer term business. It's a longer term strategy of what we're doing. We're going to be working hard to get the very best ATM solutions available. But actually, probably one of the biggest potentials that Banx Capital has got over the next 2 years. Then we get to Banx Cards Part Phase 3. So we have a sole deal with Crypto. Crypto are a soon-to-be Isle of Man-based business as well. And I'm talking with the owner of Crypto. We are launching Banx Cards through Crypto. So essentially you get scratch cards and prepaid cards with different denominations of any currency that you can think of. So there's a couple of things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be launching Bitcoin cards, of course, through Banx Cards brand. We're also going to be having our own Banxio card. So we're going to have a card that enables you to automatically take your perhaps dividend payment from bank shares, which I'll talk to you about later on, or withdraw your funds from our exchange straight onto your Banxio card automatically. And what we're working with on Crypto is that we were working to be able to get a card that can keep being topped up. So you can spend a portion of the money on the card, and you can top it up to your card as well. So it's one step away from becoming a debit card. And we're looking at integrating debit cards into Banx Cards as well. Then we have Banx Bot. We're currently working with developers on getting the best trading software that we can get together with a variety of JV partners and developers to be able to not just use our exchange, but other exchanges. You know, the trading of Bitcoin is in its infancy. And over the next 2 years, I predict a massive growth in trading of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And we're going to be using Banx Bot and branding Banx Bot through the channels that we already have and the existing customer base that we already have to be able to use Banx Bot. There's nothing out there at the moment I've seen that I would personally want to use all of the time. There's some really good stuff there's some great software that has good individual features, but there's nothing out there that's all encompassing. And that's what we're going to be looking to do. We're going to be looking to work with a variety of people to create Banx Bot software. And then last in the plan, the last part of Phase 3 is to launch Banx Bet, which realistically will be launching February time next year. We're already in talks with a variety of providers. The plan here is not to be running the back end of our own casino or poker site. We're going to be partnering with an existing company that does that, and we're going to be launching Banx Bet as a casino that will be based in a jurisdiction yet to be decided as a separate entity. But Banx Bet will be launching around February, March time next year. And we're going to be working with one of the best companies around that offers solutions for that already. So that's where we're at. Let's just take a few more questions now. We've got, can you explain subsidiaries different from any company, please? So why are we doing these 10 different things? Why are we doing so many things? Well, as I've already explained, the big part of our plan is to bring brand new people into cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And we need to be able to offer a range of solutions. I'm not saying that I want Banxio, our exchange, to be able to say, we're the biggest exchange. What I'm looking to do is offer the easiest to use exchange for the new people that we're bringing over, the new people we're getting into crypto. And all of the solutions, everything from the mining to the currency, to the physical coins, to the paid cards, they're all aimed at a specific group of people. Now, obviously, anybody can use them. Existing users of crypto can use them. But we're offering a portfolio of solutions out the box for people to use. And obviously, they all work with each other. So somebody using our exchange is going to easily be able to start mining. We have plans to be able to merge our mining with our exchange as well, so that people can buy hashing power and mining power instantly on our exchange. And it all is a cohesive portfolio that works together. So everything will be able to easily work together. And that's very important for new people coming in. We don't want people having to go to another company to find the solution they're looking for. So that's the big plan. That's what we're looking to do. Again, somebody else has asked why so many companies rather than just sticking with the exchange or the coin or the shares. Well, the big part of the shares is creating the vision. The vision is funding, the shares are funding, the sale of the shares are funding this vision, funding these businesses. We're going to be the only company that I know of that has a crypto-based asset that pays out Bitcoin profits every month. I'll be going on to talk about that later on. So that's our vision for why we're doing the portfolio of products. Another question we've had in is, do I see any relationship to the price of gold and silver versus Bitcoin? Personally, no. If you look at what gold's been doing over the last few months compared to what Bitcoin is, yes, Bitcoin's been on the decline, and gold has as well. I think you're going to have people potentially selling Bitcoin to buy gold if gold looks a good buy, and vice versa. But I'm not a particularly gold or silver expert. I like buying gold and silver myself, but I'm not particularly an expert. That's my thoughts on that one. I've had people telling me that I should wear a shirt instead of a hoodie. Oh, there you go. Well, this is in my office, and this is what I work. And when I'm out about talking and on stage, I wear a lot smarter gear. But trust me, when you're working 20 hours a day at the moment, you just wear what's comfortable that you can sit in a desk in. Do you see the collapse of fiat currencies have a positive, negative effect on Bitcoin and crypto? Yes, absolutely. You know, I'm a believer that fiat currencies long term can't last. You've got governments just printing more money. You've got the dollar not backed by anything. You've got the pound not backed by anything. 30 years ago, it was all backed by gold and silver. It's not now. Absolutely, I see that. Let's see what other questions we've got. Okay, let's have a look. Sorry about that. We've got some more. How much room do you see for multiple altcoins? There are already hundreds. How many could there be? I think there's a lot of altcoins out there with no value at all. Just people jumping on the bandwagon, people just doing it because. I see coins being pumped up and marketed all the time. And for what? There's nothing behind them. That's why I like to think Banx shares is different. What people get when they buy Banx shares is they get a part of what we're doing, and they get a share of the fees and the profits that we make every month. That's what makes it different. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin will be the thing. I think Bitcoin's the thing that's set it all off. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to go anywhere, but I'm pretty sure in the next year or two there's going to be something that is even better, does things better, that actually makes it easier for people to use. Who knows what that's going to be, but we'll see. So I've got more questions flooding in, but I'm going to crack on with this and show you, and I'll come back to some more questions before we finish. So this is our investment plan. Okay, this is in our company prospectus, which you can download from a link that I'll share with you later on. So very transparently, now there's one number here that's changed, which I'll talk about last. It's the miners pool. So this is the overview of how the shares are. There are 6 million shares in total in what we're doing in the company. 20% will be retained by the company. 10% has been used to fund where we're already at. What I mean is, to get where we've got already, we've had to pay people in shares to get the work done. And that's what's been fueling where we're at so far. So 10% is provision to be able to get the deals done we need to get the things going and get us growing as quickly as we can. 37% or 2.2 million of them are available to the public to buy. We have an affiliate program for our shares as well. So if you get anybody buying Banx shares, you will be able to get a 10% affiliate payment for referring those people. I personally own 20% of the shares in the company. I publicly stated I will not sell any shares for at least 6 months. Realistically, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm looking to make Bitcoin dividends and profit from owning those shares. And that's what I've got. I've got 20% of the company myself. Now, the 10% miners pool has changed. We stopped mining, which leads me on to a question that's come in: why did we stop mining Banx shares? I, rather naively now, looking back, had a vision of people being able to mine our shares, and it backfired. I thought, again, naively, that people would hold on to our shares, see what we're doing, and want to be in there for long haul. People started mining our shares and people started dumping them very quickly. And we were battling people dumping shares for the first week of as mining and the exchange being in existence. We were battling people dumping them for ridiculously low rates, and I didn't see it stopping. So I made a decision 2 weeks ago to stop it. So there are no Banx shares mineable for that reason. We simply have no company unless we raise these funds to do what we have already outlined. And I certainly didn't fancy for the next year, which is what the projected mineability of the shares was going to be, battling people just dumping with no long-term vision. So we stopped that. Now, one of the questions is what's going to be happening to those shares? They're going to go into a separate pool. We're going to be giving some away to charity, and we're going to be using the rest to develop the business. For now, they'll be held by the company, and we will make plans on what we're going to use those shares for. Like I say, some will be given to charity, and realistically, I see a lot of those shares going into marketing and development pool. So they will go into a pool to help us develop more. I want people involved working with me as part of my team that are genuinely interested in the long-term future of this business. And realistically, it's good to have people that own shares in the company that they're working with. So I will come up with an actual plan, and that will be publicized shortly on what's going to happen to those shares. So our goal is to raise $2.2 million, selling 2.2 million shares, and all of those prices were correct in July. Obviously, there's been a bit of a shift there, but that's the overview of where the shares are. Expenditure. This is the plan that we have on how we're going to spend the money. Now, let me just say, there's a lot of other companies out there that have raised a lot of Bitcoin. I've seen a lot of companies raising a massive amount of Bitcoin in the last 2-3 months. And I haven't been able to find out what they're doing to where they're spending it. This is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be spending 8% of the money that comes in on developing our exchange. We have Banx trading in there, which is a far longer term plan, which is going to be basically trading the Bitcoin markets internally, and we're going to be using 25% of it for that. So we will be trading the markets, getting some high-end traders online on board, working directly with us to be able to trade the markets. Banx will have 5% dedicated to it, so there will be a pool of money that can be buying and selling through bitbanx.com. 35% of it, like I've already said, will be going to mining. Right? That's our internal mining infrastructure. So Bitcoin comes in from the mining, spending $770,000 on mining equipment over multiple locations around the world. Electricity costs will be paid. Costs of a system admin or two on each location will be paid, and obviously whatever accommodation and co-location costs we've got. And the rest of it, Bitcoin that is generated, goes straight into company funds, and then a proportion of those profits is paid out. So we are still heavily backing mining. Obviously, the entire mining community needs to see price of Bitcoin going up for it to make sense. But I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. So as you can see, a large portion of what we're going to be doing is going into mining. 5% is going to be going into our Banx Mint company. So Banx Mint will, as I said already, be producing new coins, and will be going to the precious metal market. Initially, we'll be producing silver coins. Banx Cash will have 6% of the investment coming in, and that will be a starting pool, which ultimately, as that grows, will need to be considerably more as the business expands. That will be the pool of money to be able to loan pounds, dollars, and euros against Bitcoin on short-term monthly loans, as I've already described. 15% will be going into starting Banx ATM. Realistically, Banx ATM, once it's up and running, is again going to need a lot more money than that, but we've provisioned 15% to get going. That will buy us a significant amount of ATMs to get going. The cost of running those ATMs will be minimal from a point of view of costs other than actually getting people to service those ATMs. There's a big focus in Europe initially, like I said earlier. Now, one of the things I didn't mention about Banx ATM is that we're going to be looking to actually franchise this business model. So here in the UK alone, we have 50 counties. And realistically, it's possible to have 50 franchisees in the UK alone, each running their own county, each looking after their ATM. I see the Banx ATM model going into a franchise model. That's the long-term plan going into 2015 with Banx ATM. Certainly not looking to dominate the UK with ATMs and do it all ourselves. The infrastructure costs will be massive, but if we can franchise it out, that's the plan. We're going to franchise Banx ATM out, initially start in the UK, moving into Europe and who knows where else. That's the plan with Banx ATM. And Banx cards, again, a relatively low cost setup needed, 1% only going in. It's still $22,000. $22,000 will get us a decent reseller program set up and a decent portfolio of cards to be able to offer our customers. So that's how we're going to be spending the money. Now, this is how our projections of our dividend schedule appear. So this is quite a complex document, and I'm just going to skim through it. Anybody can read our prospectus and look at it in depth, and anybody's free to ask me very specific questions about it. But this is what we project our dividends to be within 12 months. Now, here and now, I'll say these months are 2 months out. We were 2 months delayed in properly launching this business. So if you're seeing November 2014, you should be putting that now to January, if that makes sense. So you can look through this dividend schedule in our prospectus, like I say. But what's the big thing, the important thing is this. For August 2015, which is now really October 2015, we are projecting a 71.9% return on investment. Now, it took me a long time to put these projections together, and I believe in two things with projections. Projections are projections, but what I believe is this: the costs should be higher than expected, and the income should be lower than expected. So what I'm trying to say is I believe these projections are very conservative. So if you look at what we are projecting by this time next year, we've got August here, but it'll realistically be October. We're projecting 0.0018 Bitcoin per share estimate. And what that means is that if you were to have shares in a year's time, we're projecting a 71% return on investment, which is essentially a 9 cents profit per share by October next year. That's what we're projecting. And the numbers are all in this, which I'm going to be going through and say they're very, very conservative. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about our marketing plan. So we've got our launch schedule, which I say is a little bit out. We have been delayed. I've already talked to you about that. But our target markets is the key thing. I've already gone through each individual element of what we're doing. But what I want to say is this. I've come out of the affiliate and internet marketing businesses, well, the traditional forms, but I still have all of my resources and contacts there. So a big part of why we're different is we're going to be tapping into all of our tremendous resources for affiliates and users and marketing methods that we've got. I'm going to be speaking extensively on stage. Wherever will have me, I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin and subsequently talking about what we're doing. We're going to be doing workshops. We're going to be doing lots of live webinars. We're going to be getting information products out there, educating people about Bitcoin. And everything, I hope you can see it now, how this all comes together. Everything I've been talking about funnels into that. That's the big thing. I'm the guy behind promoting this, and it's me that is going to be branded as the person to come to within our target market. We have multi-millionaire marketers at our disposal that once everything's in place with our product funnel, when I mean our product funnel, I don't just mean this, I mean our information product. So you can buy an ebook or you can buy a video course on Bitcoin. We have extremely high-end marketers at our disposal, many of whom are my personal friends, that are going to be helping us promote this. And everything filters into what we've been talking about today. So that's the big part of the plan. I said 10,000 users. If you notice on this slide, I've upped it to 50,000. Why aim small? We're going for 50,000 new people through. We're going to be using a lot of the typical traditional methods, cost per action, cost per click. We have an affiliate program for our shares. We have an affiliate program for pretty much every product that we're offering. So we use Infusionsoft. If you refer somebody that buys one of my ebooks or video courses, and that person then goes on to buy a mining contract, for instance, you will get a commission on that mining contract. It's pretty powerful stuff. And like I say, I'm going to be speaking extensively at industry events. I've got bookings already coming in for the rest of the year. My diary is increasingly getting busy. So the financials. Now we're already way in an hour and 10 minutes into this, so I don't want to get bogged down in the financials. I want to give you an overview, and again, you feel free at the end. You can download the prospectus and look in depth and peruse the financials as much as you want. These are our projections. Again, all 2 months out. I'm sorry I didn't have time to update the projections prior to this, but they're 2 months delayed. These are projections for the exchange. Now, at the end of it, what we are looking at is Banxio, the exchange, this time next year. I think it's very, very realistic to say that we're going to be turning over $600,000 worth. That was based on a $500 Bitcoin, 1,200 Bitcoins traded per day. That's our goal. Some of the biggest exchanges are doing double that now. We're only projecting 1,200 Bitcoin turnover a day this time next year. I think it's very, very realistic. So what we're saying is, based on that, that's going to be making approximately 150 Bitcoin profit, 3 Bitcoin day for our exchange this time next year into the company. Banx, we're saying, again, very realistically, is going to be doing $25,000 a day consistently starting around March, April next year. And that's going to be providing a 60 plus Bitcoin profit per month too. Again, I think very, very realistic figures to be dealing with. Banx mining is the big one. So what we've got here is it's hard to project how many mining contracts can be sold. It's really hard, and it tells you it's easy. Well, I disagree. So what we've got here is we're saying we're going to sell $50,000 worth of mining contracts a month only. I think it can be a lot higher than that, but like I said earlier, I'm being real conservative on the income and higher on the expenditure. Realistically, based on the current models, we could be selling $500,000 of mining contracts a month. But I've put in $50,000, very, very nominal amount of contract sales per month. And what we're saying there is this time next year, we should be generating at least 400 Bitcoin profit per month after electricity costs and expenses. Our electricity costs and our property rental and all of that good stuff is listed there. Actually, I'm wrong. That was our gross that I quoted there. What we're looking at is around 350 Bitcoin profit per month this time next year. I've had many people look at the mining projections, and this took me a week to put together, and I've not had anybody come back and disagree with them yet. Just incidentally, for anybody interested, That's working on difficulty for Bitcoin mining going up by 15% between now and February next year, and then going up at 10% per month. The secret to the mining is this. If you look on this sheet, you will see that what we are going to be doing is we're going to be reinvesting. If you look at the very bottom, the reinvestment level, the secret to growth, because it is an arms race. The mining industry is an arms race. The secret to growth and consistency of Bitcoin income for Banx mining is reinvestment of profits. So what we're saying is this: of the 356 projected Bitcoins a month, 180 of them are going to be going back into buying new hashing power. That's the way we keep it going. If we don't keep reinvesting, obviously mining gets harder, more difficult, profits start going down. So reinvesting 50% back into hashing power, which could be using cloud services that we were in talks with, or simply buying mining equipment that's available to us direct from manufacturer. 50% in reinvestment will mean that we've got a consistent amount of Bitcoin income coming in. Banx Mint, again, very realistic sales targets. $150,000 a month sales targets. Extremely realistic. We've got the expenditure there that you can see, and we've got a nominal amount of profit in the mint. Now, I personally believe those figures could be a lot higher, but again, I'm going conservative on the income and higher on the expenditure. So Banx Mint this time next year is projected to earn 38 Bitcoin profit a month. Again, it's all I'm focusing on the Bitcoin because that's ultimately, as a company, what we're going to be paying out profits in and what we want to be accumulating ourselves. Banx Cash, again, extremely low, $100,000 a month turnover projection. Again, a 30 Bitcoin profit per month projection. Banx Cash in itself, with correct funding and marketing, could be $1 million a month business in itself. It could be, but we're going at $100,000 this time next year. Again, very conservative numbers. Banx ATM is a little bit different. There is no money to be made in the ATM market in the short term because of the costs of capital costs of equipment. We are looking for ways of financing this equipment, which by the time we're ready to roll this out may be available. But as you can see, the costs of equipment will be spent. It's all going out and not a lot is coming back in from an actual balance sheet point of view. But it's a long-term game. It's a long-term game there. So what we're saying is June, July, August next year, we will actually be losing Bitcoin from a trading point of view. But that's because we're spending money on the equipment. But long term, the ATM business, I think, will reach a point, especially if we go to the franchise model. Essentially, the franchise model will be people pay a franchise fee to cover the cost of the equipment. That's what will happen. So we'll be getting income to cover the cost of equipment, and then the trading profits will be from people using the exchange and us taking the commissions. And then Banx Cards, again, extremely realistic sales figures of $100,000 a month this time next year in cards, making a nominal 20 Bitcoin a month profit from that. Banx Bot is something that we can market extensively if units are sold at the current levels of what bot software is selling for. We think realistically, after paying affiliates, that could be a real good income boost, assuming we can get the software working exactly how we want it and make it the best software available. This is going to be marketed through our existing info product affiliates and our internet marketing contacts. These sales figures are based on that only. I know personally someone that did a webinar presentation for a $397 software product in January this year and pulled in $500,000 in sales just in 1 month. We're projecting $120,000 to $130,000 a month in turnover on that this time next year, again, for decent Bitcoin profits. Now, you might be saying, why is it all? Obviously, you're not going to be selling this in Bitcoin. The idea is that each of the entities will be converting their money into Bitcoin. There's a reason we're paying the fee shares out, profits in Bitcoin. We're a Bitcoin company and we're going to be paying all of our profits out in Bitcoin. So there's the opportunity, guys. There's a massive one. I hope you get how excited I am by all of this. It's been a tremendous amount of work. It's going to be a tremendous amount of work. Continue it. But there's a real opportunity here. And I hope you agree with what we're doing and the portfolio of services that we're offering. The opportunity is massive. Just a quick word about investor returns. Anybody that owns Banx shares has to have their shares in our exchange on the 25th of every month. And based on the snapshot taken, we then say, right, we split up the Bitcoin dividends based on how many shares you have in the exchange, and we pay out the fee shares, the fee profits on the 28th of every month. That's how we're going to be working. Eventually, we are going to have a multi-wallet developed where you can have a wallet sitting on your phone or your computer and your Bitcoin will appear in that wallet. But for now, Bitcoin dividends is paid based on how many shares are in Banxio on the 25th of every month. So we've got some more questions here. Let's have a look. We've got, what are your thoughts on Next as a long term? I'll be really honest, and I'm always going to tell people if I don't know enough about something. I don't know enough about Next to comment. I know it's got a very active community. I know it's got a lot of people heavily involved in its development, but I wouldn't like to be able to comment much more because I don't actually know that much about it. But I certainly know it's one of the more reputable worked on projects. Same question coming in with regards to BitShares X. I met the guys at BitShares X when I was in St. Martin last month. I love what they're about. I love the fact that they've got a decentralized exchange, which, similar to what we're going to be doing in the Isle of Man with Banxio, allows companies to launch their own company. I love what they're about, and I publicly said that. I disagree with some of their thoughts on Bitcoin and specifically mining. I don't particularly agree with some of their rhetoric that they put out about mining being bad for the economy. But generally, what they're trying to do, I'm completely behind. I think the vision of what they've got is great. We're doing a similar thing, but it's going to be a centralized thing based in the Isle of Man. Theirs is obviously a decentralized thing. So yeah, I completely get what they're doing. I don't particularly agree with them on some of the views they have on the wider Bitcoin issues. They're quite anti-Bitcoin. They credit Bitcoin with being at the beginning of the start. But actually, Bitcoin's what's put us all here. And Bitcoin's going nowhere. I hope that answers the question. I saw Banx hit top 10 on CoinMarketCap briefly the other day and it disappeared. What happened? Should I be worried? No, it was a glitch. As I say, we've had a couple of weird trades happening. Somebody traded a few Banx shares at a decimal place out, which sent our share price temporarily up. It was a glitch. It's been fixed now. It's not possible to make that mistake as somebody trading our shares anymore. It simply was that. We're not looking for massive, 1,000% growths on our shares. We're looking for solid, steady growth. And as ultimately, when we start paying Bitcoin dividend, we know our share price will go up. Like I said earlier, I'm looking for this to snowball. November, December, and January are going to be incredibly interesting months. So the more people get to know about what we're doing, the better it's going to get for everyone. So that's what happened on CMC. So we've got somebody asking about recommended reading or viewing until we get our products out there. As I said earlier, go and watch the Rise and Rise video. That pretty much tells you everything to know. Invest 90 minutes of your time, go and watch the video. My business manager, Simon Dodd at simon-dodd.com, he wrote a blog post out about Bitcoins last week as well. Go and check his out. And wait for my book. Digital Money Revolution will be available on Kindle in the coming weeks. It'll be a 99 pence book or 99 cents book for a good few weeks while we launch it. But yeah, go and watch that Rise and Rise. Like I say, I've got no affiliation with the guys that did Rise and Rise. I'm not earning out of it in any way. I just think it's a kick-ass documentary. It tells pretty much everything you need to know about it. Somebody says, I like the live support function on your sites and have interacted with Simon a few times and he seems willing to help me as much as I need. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, we're all about support. Listen, guys, we have to sleep sometimes. We haven't got a global support staff in place yet. Once we get the need for that, we'll have all time zones covered. At the moment, Simon and a couple of other guys are manning support. Every single site that we have has the live support feature on it, and you can use that anytime you want. But thanks for your comment. I have some questions to ask privately. Somebody says, what is the best way to get in touch with you? Mark@banxcapital.com is my email. Feel free to email me. Add me on Twitter at Mark Lyford. Add me on Skype, ID at MJ Lyford. We have our IRC channel on Freenode, channel Banx Group. You can hit me up there with message Mark Lyford too. What would happen if China backed their cryptocurrencies with gold and silver? I think then we'd be seeing massive prices of Bitcoins. I hope you would agree. Any more questions, let me know. We've got a couple more minutes left and then we've got to wrap this up. Simon's manning the questions, but I think we've answered most of them. Now, listen, guys, it's your time to get involved. It's up to you. I've gone through everything that we've got to offer, my thoughts on it. Hope you get how committed and the vision that we've got. Ultimately, many people have got many questions. I've just given my contact info out. Hit me up or any of our representatives. We've got people extensively working in Asia, the US and the Caribbean, and some places in Europe are coming up. We've got people working to get our message out there. Any of the people involved in Banx Capital you can hit up. You can feel free to personally hit me up on the contact info I gave out earlier. Time is really now, guys. Honestly, I believe it is. It's the best. I honestly believe actually the 2 months delays that we've had, which have been very frustrating. Our exchange should have been out on the 1st of August. But I actually philosophically believe the time couldn't be better. With the price of Bitcoin coming back up now, it's the best time ever to be involved. And I'm glad actually in some ways that we did have that delay, although it was frustrating at the time. So listen, there's some links you need to get if you want to read out more. If you want to see everything we've got going on the web, go to banxcapital.com/info-links. That there is just a big list of everything that we've got. The prospectus is there, the overview of our products is there, our Bitcoin talk threads there, our CoinMarketCap links there, links to our Freenode IRC channel, and a bunch more things. So check out that, banxcapital.com/info-links. That'll give you everything. That's being constantly updated as well. You can go to banxcapital.com/blog to get access to our blog as well, and that's being updated pretty much daily at the moment with everything we're doing as well. Now, if anybody's interested in directly contacting me and they want to find out more, whether you're interested in working with us, whether you're interested in getting involved in investors.
That's the wrong link.
That is the wrong link, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to get involved, ignore that link. I'm very sorry about that.
In the chat box.
So the link's in the chat box on the webinar. It's banxcapital.com/get involved. If you go to banxcapital.com/get involved, I will contact everybody that fills in that form, which is a very simple form, just to tell me who you are and what you particularly want to talk about. I will personally get in touch with you if you fill in that form. So just go to banxcapital.com/get involved, and I'll contact you personally. Thank you very much, guys, for what we've for the time that you took. I've just updated that link on the fly. There we go, live broadcasts. So if you go to banxcapital.com/get involved, you can contact me and you can ask any questions you want. You can get all the links that we've got there as well, and I'll personally be in touch with you about that. So thank you very much, guys. I hope it's been worth your time in attending this. Feel free to tell everybody about what we're doing. Hit me up, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks a lot, guys.